Good evening, everybody. Am I audible? Ankit, good evening. Am I audible to everyone? Good evening. Yes. Anu, good evening. Madhavi, Sriram. Yes, good evening, everybody. Am I audible? Kishore Reddy. Yes. Good evening, everybody. So, what we have seen in the previous class, so yesterday, what I discussed with you. So, I was discussing with you about what do you mean by a variable? What do you mean by a data type? So, can you tell me what are the different data types available in Java? So can you tell me what are the different data types available in Java? Please respond. So I was discussing with you about different data types: integer type, floating point type, character, string type. I was discussing with you about different data types. So then I showed you some simple examples. I then discussed with you about classes and objects. What do you mean by a class? And yes, variables, data types, in, float, boolean, character. Yes, I was discussing with you about all these things. Yes. So you are all with me. So you have downloaded NetBeans and you are practicing. You are all with me. Yes, very good evening. Primitive and non-primitive data types. Yes. Yes. 1 minute. 1 minute. So everything is clear. 1 minute. I'll be back. So what do you mean by a class and what do you mean by an object? Please respond. I was discussing with you about different data types. What do you mean by a class? So Java language, it is based on the OOPS concept, that is object oriented programming. Yes, a class is nothing but a plan or a template or a blueprint. So many instances of that type can be created. Different editions. Yes, Priya. So I was discussing with you about standard edition, micro edition and enterprise edition. Yes. So I was discussing with you about different editions of Java. Yes, so everything is clear. So whatever I discussed yesterday, so everything is clear. So you are all practicing. Any doubts in any of the topics I discussed? Any instances of that type can be created and they are called as objects. Alright? Yes, so everything is clear. So what we saw is a blueprint. Everybody is correct. Anuj, yes. Yes, JDK. Yes, first we need to install the JDK, that is Java Development Kit, and then we have to install the NetBeans IDE. A class is a collection of object. An object is an instance of a class. Yes. Everything is clear. Alright. So if you are interested, you can go to pantechelearning and you can register for Java Programming Internship Program. JPMC. This is the coupon code. So once you register for the internship, so you'll be getting access to the recorded videos, the PPTs, the lecture notes, how the projects are being developed. So you'll be gaining more practical knowledge. Please hurry up. The internship offer is going to end soon. So every day the attendance will be posted in the live chat. So you have to fill the attendance form in order to receive the webinar certificate. And once you attend this masterclass for 30 days, so 25 days, so you'll be receiving, so you have to pay ₹100 in order to receive the webinar certificate. And the internship users, they'll be receiving the webinar certificate as well as the internship certificate. Alright. So in this 30 days masterclass, so we will be learning the core Java concepts. So what do you mean by a class? What do you mean by an object? So I'll be discussing with you about different decision making statements and what do you mean by a looping statement, and finally I'll be discussing some 10 projects with you. Alright. So it is going to be, so once you attend this masterclass, so you'll become a master in this language, Java language. Alright, so we will have more practical sessions. You can just practice, and if you have more doubts, you can mail me, or you can post your doubts in the live chat. All right. Yes, what are all the important features of Java? So why we have to go for this Java language? So I was discussing. So I just gave an introduction to Java and why we have to go for this Java language. Yes. So if you are interested, you can go to Pantech eLearning and you can register for Java Programming Internship Program, JPMC. This is the coupon code. So once you register for the internship, you will be getting access to the recorded videos, the lecture notes, the PPTs, how the projects, whatever I am discussing, everything, you will be getting access to all the materials. And you have to sign in the attendance. The attendance form will be posted during the live chat. So you please fill in the attendance in order to receive the webinar certificate. And you have to attend this masterclass for 25 days and you have to pay ₹100 in order to receive the webinar certificate. And the internship users, they will be receiving the webinar certificate as well as the participation certificate. All right. Everything is clear. So far I just gave an introduction. So what makes this programming language so efficient? Yes, a class is nothing but a collection of objects. What are all the different applications? Yes, it is a purely object-oriented programming language. It is based on the OOPS concept. And what makes this language? So what do you mean by what are the different features? Why we have to go for this programming language? So I discussed about multi-threading capabilities. Correct? So it can handle more than one request at a time and platform independence. So why, when I have different types of programming languages, high level language, I can go for Java or Python. So why I have to go for this specific language? So platform independence. It can run on any type of operating system. It can run on Windows operating system, or it can run on Linux or Unix or any other type of operating system. Clear? Platform independence. Yes. It is a high level programming language. So with this, so till this part, whatever I have discussed, everything is clear, right? So I just gave an example of class. So what do you mean by a class and what do you mean by an object? So everything is clear. So how to create a project, so how to use the NetBeans IDE. So far whatever I have discussed, I discussed with you about the different applications. Gaming development software can be used in IoT applications. And I discussed with you the installation steps and core Java concepts. So what do you mean by a class? What do you mean by an object? So today I am going to discuss with you about the next important concept. So what do you mean by a comment? So what do you mean by a comment? Buffering. So now it's clear. My voice is audible. Now it's clear. Yes. So what do you mean by comment? So it just provides a brief description about a piece of code. So when I'm building some bigger application, so I'm going to develop a lot of classes. It is going to contain a lot of user-defined methods. So what is the functionality of each and every method? So what is the use of comment? So I am declaring some variables. So yesterday I was discussing with you about variables and data types. Say for example, I want to develop a website for some student placement. So what are all the different modules involved in my coding? Say for example, it will contain a placement officer. It will have a placement officer module. It will have a student module and other modules. So each and every module, it will have a login detail. So what is the name of a student? So he needs to register if he wants to use that website. So I am going to create some user-defined methods for doing some specific functionalities or operations. So what is the use of these comments? They just provide a brief description. Say for example, this module, it is used to store the student details. And placement officer, he is going to come. This module, so the placement officer, he can enroll, and what are all the different activities that are performed by a placement officer. So for doing different types of operations, what are all the different types of operations carried out by different people? So everything I can create separate modules or user-defined functions. So for website development, I can use this kind of a thing. Say for example, I'm writing separate modules for placement officer. He can enroll and he can perform certain type of operations. So what is the duty? What is the role or the activity, events? That is the actions performed by the that is the corresponding placement officer. So he can enroll with his details, the name and the corresponding details and the eligibility criteria. So he is the person. So what are all the companies that are visiting a college? So he keeps track of all the things. So which students are eligible for which type of companies. So for doing different types of operations, so I am writing some separate modules or methods. So what is the use of this type of comments? It just provides a description in order to improve the readability of my application. So when I am doing some bigger application, say for example, I am declaring some variable. So I am giving a comment, a short description. So I am just providing, so this variables, what is the use of these variables? So it contains the student records, or I am saying it contains the placement officer's records, or what is the use of this function, user defined function. So far I was discussing, right? So if I want to develop a website, if I want to automate, so far the placement activities, everything is happening manually. So I want to develop a website kind of a thing. So what are all the activities that are happening in a placement cell? So I want to develop a website. So I am creating some separate modules. Say for example, there will be a student placement or placement officer module. There will be an admin module. He is going to be the central controller. Say for example, I am creating separate modules in order to save the student details, in order to save the admin details. So I can provide some brief description. So in order to improve the readability, so just by looking at that comment, so I can understand so what that piece of code is doing. So for even a blind person, when a third person is going to come in, he is going to read the code, he can easily understand. So why we have to go for this comments? So for ease, for readability and maintenance. So I need to maintain the code. So it can be used for future reference. So when a third person, when an unknown person is going to come and he is going to, a specific person has developed an application. So he has developed a website. So when some third person or unknown person comes in, so he wants to view and he wants to understand so how the person has developed. So that is the main use of this comment. So it just provides a brief description. Clear? So what is the use of this kind of commenting? So why I have to provide for comments? So comments play a very, very important role. So when the application is growing larger, so when for bigger applications, so comments plays a very, very important step. So whatever I am placing inside this, so there are two different types of comments in Java. So it supports two different types of comments. So one is a single line comment and one more is a multi-line comment. So Java supports two different types of comments. The first one is a single line comment and the second one is a multi-line comment. So what do you mean by a single line comment? So from the term you can just understand. So it is prepended by two forward slashes. So it contains a single line of code, a single commented line. And what do you mean by a multi-line comment? So it contains multiple lines. So it is enclosed within slash, asterisk and asterisk slash. So it is called as multi-line comments. Clear with this? So commented code will not be executed. So the remaining part of the program will be executed. So whichever code is written, line is written within the commented part, it will not be executed. The remaining part, the remaining portion of the program, entire program will be executed. Clear? So what is the use of this command? So let me just show you 1 minute. So what is the use of this command? Say for example in a placement cell, so I am writing some separate functions. Say for example, there will be a student who is going to come in. So he needs to log in by providing his details. So I am defining some user defined functions. Say for example, I am writing a function called save function. So public void save. So I am going to create some user defined functions. So whatever student details I am giving, so it is going to be saved. So I can create. So I can write a comment. So save the student details. So it is prepended by two forward slashes. So save the student details. So I can give the comment as save the student details. Clear? So what is the use of this comment? So it improves the readability of my entire program. So whatever code I am writing here, it is used to save the student details. Say for example the placement officer. So what are all the different actions that are performed by the placement officer? So he can just view the student details. The admin person, he can view the student details, he can delete or he can update. So whatever, say for example deleting the student details. So I can give the comment as delete the student details. So for doing different types of operations, I can provide some simple comments. Clear? So what is the use of this kind of commenting? So in order to improve the readability of my application, so when I am building some larger applications, websites, so comments play a very important step. So just by looking at the commented line, so I can understand so what that piece of code is going to do. So that is the main use of this kind of comments. Clear? Say for example, this is, so there are two different types of comments in Java. The first one is called as a single line comment and the second one is called as a multi-line comment. So in case of Java, so I have two different types of comments. The first one is a single line comment and the second one is a multi-line comment. Say for example, the single line comment, it is prepended by 2 forward slashes. So example comment. So I'm just giving the comment as example comment. So it is going to print a message, my first comment. So comments can be included at the beginning or it can be included at the end. So based on our requirement, so where we require a comment, so it can be, we can add a comment at the beginning or we can add a comment at the end. Clear with this? So multi-line comments, it is prepended by slash, asterisk and asterisk slash. So I can have, instead of a single line of comment, so I can have multiple line of comment. So in order to provide a brief description, a more elaborate description about that piece of code, so I can go for multi-line comments. So based on my application, so first I need to look, say for example, if I'm having some simple user-defined functions, I can go for single line comments. So what is the use of that function, user-defined function? So what that function is going to do? So for building some larger applications, so I have to see whether I can go for single line comments or multi-line comments. So based on my requirement, so I can go for single line comment or I can go with multi-line comments. Clear with this? So what is the use of this single line comment? This is how I can give any type of comments. So this is the single line comment. So I am giving a sample comment. So let me just show you an example, simple examples of how to create a comment. 1 minute. So yesterday I was discussing, right, so how to create a simple Java, that is a project, and it contains the source packages and the default package folder. So I am just right clicking and I am giving as new Java class. So I am just giving the topic as comment example. So I am just giving the topic as comment example. So project class name I am giving like this, and then I am clicking the finish button. So after clicking the finish button, so I am just giving public static void main. So I am just passing this string array as an argument. String of space args. I am just passing the string array as an argument and I am giving as sample comment. So I am giving a system dot out dot println. So whatever I am typing, say for example, so I am just giving a simple message. This is an example comment. So whatever I am typing here, so this will be printed at the output. So each and every time I am typing any Java coding, so I have to click the save button and then I am right clicking. So I am clicking, there is an option called run file option. Clear with this? So what do you mean by this single line comment? So how I am doing this single line comment? So first I am declaring a class. So public, using this access modifier. So public class, I am giving the class name. And within this curly brace, so I am just creating a main method. So public static void main. So the argument is passed as a string array. So I am giving, so the single line comment, it is prepended by 2 forward slashes. So I am just giving as sample comment. Clear? So whatever is given within this 2 forward slashes, so this will not be printed at the output. Clear with this? So what do you mean by this single line comment? So based on our requirement, so we can go for single line comment or we can go for multi-line comment. Clear? So next I'm going to discuss with you about multi-line comments. So far, multi-line comments, they are prepended by slash, asterisk and asterisk slash. Say for example, I am giving one more example for multi-line comments. So I am creating one more class. I am giving right click new. I am creating a new Java class. So I am giving as multi-line comments. So I am just giving the title as multi-line comments. So I am creating a main method. Public static void main. So I am just passing the string array as an argument. String of space args. So within this I am giving like this slash asterisk and then asterisk slash. Welcome to, I am just giving Java programming. So I am just giving some sample Java class. So something I am giving like this. Sample Java class. So I am just giving. So it is enclosed within slash asterisk and asterisk slash. So this is an example of multi-line comments. So based on my requirements, so I can go for single line comments. So welcome to Java programming. I am just giving a simple message. Welcome to Java programming. So I should terminate this with a semicolon. So I am just clicking the save button. And then I have to right click this code and there is a option called run file option. Clear with this? So whatever is written within this system.out.println, so this will be printed at the output. So the multi-line comments, they are enclosed within slash, asterisk and then asterisk slash. Clear? So what do you mean by a single line comment and what do you mean by a multi-line comment? String arguments, so the execution, so whatever I am passing, the main method, so everything is converted. So it considers only the string array. So the JVM process, so whatever arguments we are passing to the main method, so everything is processed in the form of a string array. So that is why I am giving the argument as string of space args. So whatever I am passing as argument to my main method, so everything is processed in the form of a string array. Harshavardhan, clear? So this is an example of single line comment and this is an example of multi-line comment. So write one sample program. So you can just take down this exercise. So write one sample program to illustrate the use of single line comment. And you can just take down this task. Find the error in the following code. Find the error in the following code. Just take down this exercise. Write one sample program to illustrate the use of single line comment. And then you just take down this. Find the error in the following code. Find the error in the following code. Clear with this? So I can go for, based on my requirements, so I can go for single line comments or multi-line comments. So why we have to go for this comments? As I told you, right? So in order to understand each and every line of code, so for building bigger applications for easier readability and to understand the code, intricate details of the code, so I have to go for this comments. And once I am going to add some comments while debugging, so if there are any errors, so when a developer is developing some bigger website applications, so there may be many errors in the program. So if he wants to find which part of the program is causing some errors, so when I'm going to add some comments, so I can find, so this part of the program is causing some errors. So for easier code maintenance and in order to find the errors, say for example, if I'm saying this part of code is used to save the user details, this part of code, it is used to save the admin details. So just by looking at the commented line, so I can commented section, I can understand. So if there are any errors, so I can easily identify which part of code is causing errors. Clear? So that is the main use of this comment. So I just discussed with you. So this is some more examples. So whatever I want. So multi-line comments and single line comments. And there is one more type of comments. It is called as a documentation comment. So far I just explained with you about single line comments and multi-line comments. Yes, you can add the comments at the end. This is one more type of comment. Say for example, I am showing one more example. Comments can be added at the beginning or you can add a comment at the end. I am giving some examples. Say for example, comment example end. So I am just giving some example. So you can add a comment at the end as well. So I am just creating a main method. Public static void main string of space args. So I am just going to add a comment at the end. Say for example, int a equal to 10. So a is initialized with the value of 10. A is initialized with the value of 10. System dot out dot print ln. So I am just printing this a value at the output. So I am just clicking the save button, right click and then run file. Clear with this? So comments can be added at the beginning or it can be added at the end. Say for example, a is initialized with the value of 10. So I can add a comment at the beginning. So it is prepended. Single line comments, they are prepended by 2 forward slashes. So comments can be added at the beginning or I can add a comment at the end as well. Clear till this part whatever I am speaking. So what do you mean by a single line comment and what do you mean by a multi-line comment? So if I want to add more than one line, so it is prepended by slash, asterisk and asterisk slash. So if you are interested, there is still one more type of comment, so I am going to describe. So if you are interested, you can go to pantechelearning and you can register for Java Programming Internship Program, JPMC. This is the coupon code. So once you register for the internship, so you will be getting access to the you will be getting access to the recorded videos, the lecture notes, so how the projects are being developed. So you will be gaining more practical knowledge. Please hurry up, the internship offer is going to end soon. Clear? So if you want to receive the certificate, so you have to attend this master class for 25 days and you have to pay ₹100 in order to receive the webinar certificate. And the internship users, they have to, if they want to receive they will be receiving the webinar certificate as well as the internship certificate. So you have to attend this master class for 25 days in order to receive the webinar certificate and you have to pay ₹100. And the internship users, they will be receiving the internship certificate as well as the webinar certificate. Clear? So if you are interested, you can go to pantechelearning and you can register for Java Programming Internship Program, JPMC. This is the coupon code. So once you register for the internship, so you'll be getting access to the recorded videos, the PPTs, so whatever projects I'm developing, so you'll be getting access to all the materials. And you'll be receiving, so the attendance will be posted during the live chat. So you have to fill in the attendance in order to get the webinar certificate. And you have to attend this masterclass for 25 days. So 25 days is mandatory in order to receive the webinar certificate. And you have to pay ₹100. And the internship users, they will be receiving the internship certificate as well as the webinar certificate. Alright. So let me just continue. So I just discussed with you about what do you mean by comments, what do you mean by a single line comment and what do you mean by a multi-line comment. So what is the use of different types of comments? So when building some larger applications, so comment plays a very important step. So why we have to go for comments? So in order to avoid any errors. So in order to improve the readability and code maintenance. So for future reference, when some unknown person is going to come and view my code, he can understand. So just by looking at the commented sections, he can understand this piece of this piece of code is going to perform some sort of operations. Clear? So that is the main use of single line comments and multi-line comments. There is still one more type of comment. So it is called as documentation comments. And to avoid errors, in order to find errors, we can go for this kind of comments. And we have one more type of comment. It is called as a documentation comment. So what is the use of this documentation comment? So when I am building some larger programs, so I want to know, so what are all the different classes that are used in my program? So what are all the different methods I have used? So what are all the different arguments I am passing? So everything can be, I can give it as a paragraph or a document. So for larger programs, when I am developing some larger website applications, so I want to know, I am just providing a documentation comment. So before the beginning of the code, so I want to know. Say for example, you can consider the student placement cell, or say for example, I am developing a website for some insurance company. So I can just list out, so what are all the different classes this project contains. Say for example, it contains a class called, in order to calculate the premium, so I am creating some classes. So it contains separate classes for different modules. So I want product display module. So what are all the different policies available? So I am creating a class called policies. And what are all the other transactions that are happening in an insurance company? So I am creating separate classes. So a documentation comment is nothing but it provides a list of classes. What are all the different classes that are contained in my entire application, and what are all the different methods that are used in my application. So I can go for documentation comment. Clear? Say for example, in an insurance company, so I am developing a website for an insurance company. So I want to know, so this is a list of all the classes present in the insurance company. So it contains a list of all these type of classes. So there is a class called policy and premium. So I am creating some methods for performing specific operations. Premium method for performing in order to calculate the premium. Or if I want to compute, so what are all the different types of policies, product display, and I am calculating the that is the interest rate and other types of operations. So what are all the different operations that are available? So I am creating. So I am providing a documentation comment. Clear? So it is an extension of multi-line comments. So as the complexity of my application, so whenever I am building some larger applications, even bigger applications, so I can go for this kind of documentation comment. So it is prepended by slash, double asterisk and asterisk slash. So that is the main use of this documentation comment. Clear? So what is the use of this documentation comment? So let me just show you one simple example. So what is the use of this documentation comment? So I am just creating. So for doing any kind of Java coding, so how I have to create? So I have to create some class and then I am going to create some examples. So I am going to right click this package. So there is an option called new. So till this part, whatever I am discussing, everything is clear. Yes. So I am just creating a new Java class. So I am giving the name as documentation comment. So I am just clicking the finish button. So I am just creating a class called documentation comment. So I am just clicking the finish button. So I am just giving, say for example, I am calculating some function. So I am giving some example. So let me just, this is an example of documentation comment. So I have to give the corresponding class name. So I am just giving as documentation comment. So each and every time I am going to make some changes. So I need to save the code. So there is a save button. So you can see here. So what is the use of this? So it just calculates the sum of two integers. So I am creating some user defined function. So this is how my documentation comment. So it is enclosed within slash, double asterisk and asterisk slash. So it contains a paragraph of comments. So what are all the different types of operations? So it provides a list of all the operations. So this is an example of documentation comment. Clear? Say for example, I am just importing, so whatever classes I want, so I am just importing java.io.star. So if I want to use everything from this IO package, so I am just importing everything. So java.io.star. So star denotes I am importing everything from this IO, input output. And I am creating a class called documentation comment or calculate. So what is the use of this kind of comments? Say for example, I'm creating a user defined method called sum method. So when I'm going to pass two inputs, say for example input 1 and input 2, so it is going to add these two inputs and this will be returned at the output. So by looking at this comment, documentation comment, so you can just understand so what this piece of code is going to do. Say for example, I'm in a banking sector, so I want to know so what all the different people are doing. So I can have a loan officer, I can have a manager. So what are the role of different people? So I can create a documentation comment, a list of different classes used in my program, a list of different methods. Say for example, this method is used to calculate the interest rate. This method is used to calculate the loan balance. So withdrawal amount, deposit amount. So this is the use of them. So here this is how I can use this documentation comment. So it just provides elaborate description. It is an extension of multi-line comments. So I am just creating a user defined method. So public int. So sum. So it is going to return an integer type. So I am passing two inputs. Say for example, this is input 1 and this is input 2. So I am passing two inputs to my sum function. So it is going to add these two inputs and my result will be returned. So whenever I am going to call this sum function, so it is going to add these two inputs. So input 1 and input 2, and it is going to return my result. And next I am creating a main method. So public static void main. So I am passing, the argument is passed as a string array. So I am creating an instance of this class. Say for example, I am creating an instance of this documentation comment. So I am just creating an instance of this class. So I am creating a new object. So this is how I can create a new object. So the class name space, I am giving the corresponding object. So new keyword is used for allocating the memory. So I am just creating an instance of this class. And int result equal to, so object dot sum of. So using this object, so I am just calling this sum function. So when I am going to pass these two inputs 40 and 20, so it is going to add these two inputs and this will be returned at the output. The result will be returned at the output. Clear with this? Say for example, it contains it provides an elaborate description / double asterisk and asterisk slash. So calculation of numbers, what this entire program is going to do. So when I am developing some websites, say for example, this is how I am going to develop some website. I want to know, so what are all the list of operations I am going to perform. So I can go for this kind of documentation comment. Clear? So based on my situation, so I can go for different types of comments. Say for example, right click, I am giving the screen as white screen. So I can go for different types of comments. So what do you mean by this documentation comment? Say for example, / double asterisk. So inside this I am just giving, say for example, this class is used to calculate. Say for example, I am giving the corresponding class name. So in case of a student placement, so what are all the different activities I am going to perform? So there will be a student login class. So what are all the different classes? So I can give the corresponding class name. So I can give login details of the student. So it just provides a description. So login details of the student. So this is a real-time example. So student placement activity. So similarly, I can give one more user-defined method called view student details. So what is the use of this method? So I am giving the user-defined method name as view student details. So what is the use of this method? It is used for viewing the student details. Clear? So this is the use of user-defined method. It is used for viewing the student details. So it just provides a description, an elaborate description about what are all the different classes. So just by looking at this, so as I was telling you, right, so what is the use of this kind of documentation comment? So just by looking at this, so I can understand. So when a third person comes in, a person has developed a project. So when some unknown person comes in, so just by looking at this, he can understand. So what are all the different modules that are involved in the project and what are all the different activities. So there can be an admin person. So I am just creating a class called admin person. So everything I can. So this is an example of documentation comment. So real-time example of documentation comment. So you can imagine any website application. So I am developing a website for a railway organization, railway company. So what are all the different activities that are happening? So manually what are all happening? So everything we are going to carry out in a website kind of a thing. So admin, it contains the admin details. Clear? So this is a good example of documentation comment. So it is going to contain the admin details. Clear? It is enclosed within slash, double asterisk and asterisk slash. So just by looking at this documentation comment, so I can understand. So what are all the different activities that are happening? So just by looking at this, when a person has developed a website, so it gives an idea. So what are all the different classes? So it contains the separate classes and what are all the different methods that are present in my program. So this is one good example of documentation comment. So let me just illustrate. So I just gave you an example of this code. So I'm just going to run this code. So how to run this code? Just right click and there is an option called run file option. So when I'm going to run this, so it is going to print me the addition of numbers. So my documentation comment, it has been executed. So you can see. So what I'm trying to do here, so I'm creating an object of this class type. So class name, so I'm just creating an object of this type. And using this object dot, so I'm just calling this sum method. So I'm passing these two arguments. So integer arguments 40, 20. So it is going to return me the addition of these two numbers. Clear with this? So you can imagine for any type of application, say for example, I am developing a drugstore. So if I want to develop some documentation comments, so what are all the different it contains? So it just provides the drug details and what are all the different events that are happening in a drugstore. So what is the name of the employee? So for example, I want to store the customer details, the pharmacist details. So everything. So just by looking at this documentation comment, so I can understand. So what are all the different classes and what are all the different user defined methods used in my entire coding. Clear? So placement officer, so it contains details about the placement officer. So student login, it contains details about the students. So what is the student's profile? What is the name of the student? To which department he belongs to? Clear? So with this I am stopping today. So I just started with comments. So what do you mean by single line comment and what do you mean by multi-line comment and documentation comment? So if you have any doubts in any of the topics, you can just ask me. So any doubts? So till this part, whatever I have discussed, everything is clear. Any doubts in any of the topics? Any doubts? If you are interested, you can go to Pantech e-learning and you can register for Java Programming Internship Program, JPMC. This is the coupon code. So once you register for the internship, you will be getting access to the lecture notes, the PPTs, the recordings, so how the projects are being developed. So you will be gaining more practical knowledge. So if you want to receive the certificates, you have to attend this internship program for 25 days, master class for 25 days. And you have to pay ₹100 in order to receive the webinar certificate. And the internship users, they will be receiving the webinar certificate as well as the internship certificate. Clear? Any more doubts? If you have any doubts, you can just ask me. Any doubts? So if you want to RD creativity, so if you want to access the methods without creating objects, so you have to go for the static keyword. So the JVM, the program execution starts from the main method. So without creating any objects, so if you want to access the main method, so you have to go for the static keyword. Clear? comment lines, as I was telling you, right? So in order to improve the readability, so when I'm building some bigger applications, I want to know what that piece of code is going to do, so I can go for different types of comments. API means application programmable interface. So any more doubts? So whatever topics I discussed today, everything is clear to everybody. Any doubts? Dinesh Kumar, documentation comment. So if I want to, it is an extension of multi-line comments. So if I want the elaborate description about my code, so each and every line, so what are the different classes that are used in my program, what are the different methods that are used in my program, so I can go for this documentation comment. Any more doubts? So for more doubts, you can mail me. This is my mail ID. Any more doubts? Niveta, documentation comment. So as I was telling you, right? So when I'm building some bigger application, so this is an example of documentation comment. Say for example, so this method calculates the sum of two integers. So at param, so it denotes, it contains two arguments. So this is the first parameter to the sum method. And at param input 2, this is the second parameter to the sum method. And at return int, so what it returns? It returns the addition of input 1 and input 2. So it just provides an elaborate description about this method. This is an example of documentation comment. It is an extension of multi-line comments. Clear? Any more doubts? So for more doubts, you can mail me. This is my mail ID. Any more doubts? So if you are interested, you can go to pantechelearning and you can register for Java Programming Internship Program. JPMC, this is the coupon code. So once you register for the internship, so you'll be getting access to the lecture notes, the PPTs, how the projects are being developed. So you'll be gaining more practical knowledge. So the internship users, they'll be receiving the webinar certificate as well as the internship certificate. Any more doubts? So any more doubts? So whatever topics I discussed today, everything is clear. Any doubts? So you can practice. For more doubts, you can mail me. So chennai.java@pantechmail.com. Yes, commented line will not execute. It just provides a description about my code. Static means Shravan Kumar. So if I want to access the methods, that is the member variables and the functions of the methods without using an object, I can go for static methods. Clear? So documentation comments, Sharmila. So as I told you, right, when I'm developing some bigger websites, So if I want to know what are the list of classes and what are the functions that are present in my entire website, that is the coding entire program, so I can go for documentation comment. AWT means abstract window toolkit. API Rahul Kumar, so it acts as an intermediary between two applications. Any more doubts? AWT means abstract window toolkit. So for more doubts, you can practice. What is the use of an API? It acts like an intermediary between two applications. That is the use of an API, Rahul Kumar. So for example, I am visiting a restaurant. So I am ordering something. So the food is in the kitchen. So I need a waiter, right? So it acts like a link. That is the interface between two applications. Similar role is performed by an API. So I need a waiter. He is going to get my orders and he is going to fetch the food from the kitchen and he is going to supply me the food. Similar role is played by an API. So it acts like an intermediary interface between two applications. Function, a method as a function is nothing but it is nothing but a set of instructions, a group of specific lines of code which is used to perform some specific operation. That is the use of functions. Documentation comment should be enclosed within slash, double asterisk and asterisk slash. Any more doubts? So till this part, whatever I have discussed, everything is clear to everybody. Today's topic. So I just started with comments. So everything is clear. Static means if I want to access the method without creating an object, I have to go for the static keyword. Any more doubts? Prithviraj, single line comment. So it is prepended by two forward slashes, and multi-line comment it is prepended by slash asterisk and asterisk slash. So AWT, so if I want to create some widgets, buttons, so if I want to create some desktop GUI applications, graphical user interface applications, I can go for AWT, that is abstract window toolkit. Any more doubts? So if I want to access the members without creating objects, so I can go for the static keyword. So for example, I am writing when I am developing some big applications. So if I am writing some comments, I know what that piece of code is doing. So I can read the error line errors.